Hey everybody, it's your girl Queen Evangeline and I'm back with another video. Today is the 16th of January 2022. As mentioned in my previous and my introductory video that I'll be doing a various series on gender-based violence, of which this is the very first clip. I myself have been a victim of domestic violence, rape, and this video would then be the first of many. In this specific video I will be covering my childhood and sharing some of my experiences and sharing some of my ideas and thoughts, which I'm entitled to, you're entitled to. Disclaimer, this is just merely based on my own experiences. I'm no expert or a professional in a specific field, but rather this is not from my own experiences. So we'll start off from when I was just nearly 10 years old. I'd like to say that I grew up in a very conservative family, and topics such as sex was taboo. And what I was basically taught was that you do not have sex before marriage. It is a sin. You preserve your virginity for your husband. It didn't exactly then turn out that way, and you will find out later in the other videos why. And then I'd also like to say that I know with our school curriculum that in subjects such as LO, that is where we learn about copulation. In biology also, where we learn about copulation. But these type of subjects are only offered in high school when you are in grade 10, 11, and 12. And at that stage, I think you're already at an advanced stage, and you've already discovered as a teenager what your body can do. And I think that with the high rate of teenage pregnancies, I think that we should teach our kids from a very young age. I know that these topics are somehow age appropriate. We need to think about having these topics in age appropriate manners. So I think that is when we then can create a positive space and a creative space in which we can then relay the message to our teenagers, to our kids, especially toddlers. The toddlers that are also being harmed. We really live in a society where we are surrounded by sick individuals, and I think that even as a toddler, if you have a toddler going to a daycare center, or if you have a child going to grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, that you need to somehow introduce these type of things to them in a creative manner, in a safe space. You have to create safe spaces in the home, and at school, where you can communicate with your child and maybe tell them about the body, tell the child about your body parts that no adult should touch, and that no toddler, no kid should be carrying a secret. Once an adult tells a kid to carry a secret, that is wrong, and you need to have an open and trust they have open relationship, and there has to be trust between you as the mother and the child. The child needs to have to be able to identify their body parts and identify parts that no adult should have access to or touch. The moment that happens, your child needs to then inform you as parent. I know it's not easy. I'm not a parent myself, but I think it's important that we create safe spaces for our children, and children should have the liberty to inform you as parent about what bothers them. I would also like to say that I am not doing this for clout, but because this happened to me, I want to try and educate you guys. I want to try and make you aware of these type of issues, and that we need to protect one another. We need to look out for one another. We are a village, we are a community, and going to court and seeing other women who have gone through different forms of abuse, it's unacceptable. So I'll start the story off. When I was 10 years old, I had a friend. He was a male friend. He was a little bit older than what I am. Um, I'm from a church, and he's also from the exact same church. So our parents are pastors, and so because our church fell within the same zone, we saw each other often, and so we developed a friendship. We exchanged numbers. Okay, I didn't have a cell phone. I don't think I had I'm not sure if I had a cell phone at that point in time, did I? But we did have a landline. So I gave him the landline number, and every day after school we talk. But I soon realized that there are children among us who have been exposed to explicit content, or who have been exposed to sexual content or sexual experiences, and at that time, I don't think they have fully developed the context in which they have found themselves in. um, so we have really young kids who are being molested and raped. It's a reality. And so him and his dad came over to visit, and they were having a meeting in the house, and we were playing outside. So you know how our parents get, they're like, oh no, the kids, they're just playing outside. And for the longest time ever, I was in denial about everything that happened to me. But for some reason, I just couldn't get these incidences out of my mind. And so we were playing outside, and he was like, okay, let's just play Popeye. And I agreed. I mean, it's what kids do. We play house. And we were outside, and at the back of the house, there's a huge yard, and in the yard was a carport where the car was parked. And I remember we were playing, and then he was laying on top of me, rubbing his genitals against mine. And this went on for a period of time. But I couldn't understand why I just laid there. I didn't scream for help or anything. I was just laying there like a dead piece of wood. But I knew, I think that I knew what was happening wasn't appropriate or right. But that's how it played out. But I couldn't forget it. I didn't tell anybody. Up until this very moment, my mother also does not know. So that was the first incident. And then I also had a friend who lived in the exact same street as what I was living in, who did the exact same thing to me. And then when I turned 16, my mother has a whole lot of brothers and sisters, and they all come from Cape Town. My mother's a Cape Townian, and so our entire family is living there. So when she moved into her new home, one of her brothers came down. He had never ever been to Johannesburg, and it was his very first time in Johannesburg, and he was really excited to see his sister after many years. He was very excited to join his sister as she also moves into a new home. Bear in mind that my uncle is actually also deaf. I am deaf too. I'll release a video explaining how that happened also. And so they came over to stay for a while. So because of my uncle's disability, he needed to have two of his children accompanying him. My cousin, a male cousin who's older, and then a female cousin who's younger. I'll not mention any names at this stage. And so I remember at one point my uncle fell sick, and they had to rush him to get some medical attention. As a result, it was only me and my cousin in the house. My mother, till this very point in time, we were in her bedroom, and she has this brown carpet in her bedroom. Till this very moment, she still has that brown carpet in her bedroom. And we lay on the carpet. I laid on that carpet and he laid on top of me. And you touched me inappropriately, played with my genitals and everything. And once again, I laid there like a dead piece of wood. Also, my mother doesn't know this. And that was my run-in with my cousin. And then once I turned 18, I left the house. And then I started dating someone from my church. And I also made it abundantly clear to him that I am a virgin. That I'm trying to preserve my virginity for my husband, as this is what I was taught. But he was also very persistent. And on one occasion, it was a Wednesday evening, I lived with my granny for the very first 2 years of my varsity life, and she was a devoted Christian, which meant that every Wednesday she would attend prayer meeting. And on this specific Wednesday, she attended prayer meeting. Now, my then boyfriend was only allowed to see him on weekends. And so he came over, and I was thinking that it must be some form of emergency. But he only came over because he had a need. And he needed to have that desire fulfilled. In the next video, I'll explain exactly in detail how that happened. I will end this video by saying that we need to create open communication channels with our children. Children need to have the liberty and the freedom to approach you as a parent and tell them what their experiences are, good and bad. And in doing so, children may be able to communicate their feelings and their experiences better. So, stay tuned for more. Goodbye for now. I love you guys.